I'm Jan Degree from the immediate team, and this is our project on the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. So a quick background on the project about Boeing. It was founded in 1916 and nowadays it's one of the largest aircraft manufacturer in the world. They are really renowned for innovation and excellence in aviation. So the project itself is the 787 Dreamliner project that was started in 23, and it aims to revolutionize air travel by focusing on fuel efficiency, passenger comfort, and material innovation. A first aircraft made out of 50% carbon fiber, which was a groundbreaking material around this time, 2003. Um, Also, they outsource roughly 70% of the design and manufacturing, which is a large chunk of the design. Why do we want to investigate this project? Um, it is we are trying to identify where management practices have failed and how we can avoid those type of issues. Uh, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner encountered major delays, cost overruns, and technical failures. This is a real world example of a project going wrong, and it shows how improper scope, risk, and stakeholder management is undermine large scale engineering projects. And, quick introduction of the team. We are the immediate team. My name is Jan Degree. I have a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering. I graduated in fall 2023, and now I'm doing my master's in industrial engineering, and I am supposed to graduate in summer 2026. I'm also a career ambassador at Western Michigan University.
My name is Nate Neubauer, and I am currently an undergrad in industrial and entrepreneurial engineering, and will be graduating this fall. And I'm also in the accelerated master's program in industrial engineering with an expected graduation date of fall 26. And I'm currently working a co-op at Landscape Forms.
My name is Sahid Tisan, and I have a chemical engineering degree for my bachelor, and I'm doing a master with engineering management. I will be graduating this fall.
Okay, so to kind of dive a little bit more into our project, to the right we have our project scope, and we're going to highlight some or we're going to highlight some key points from that. With the first one being from the project description, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner has had an uptick in defects, groundings, and safety issues compared to other Boeing models due to a different supply chain strategy, which Yan briefly mentioned in the backgrounds. For this project, we're currently using 4 academic papers as sources of information. Um, and the last key highlight would be we're evaluating the Boeing 787 Dreamliner down to the scope management, risk management, and then the stakeholder domain, which we're going to talk about those now.
So the slide is talking about scope management. The purpose of scope management is to define and control what's included or what's not included in the project, ensure alignment of deliver with the objective, stakeholder needs, and project goals. Also to prevent scope creep and misalignment between teams. The key activity that we're gonna apply are plan scope management and collect requirement, define scope and create the work breakdown structure, validate the scope and control scope through formal change process. The key concept, product scope, is feature and function of the product. Project scope would require to deliver the product. The work breakdown structure has a discomposition of a project work. Scope baseline, which is a proof scope statement, work breakdown structure, and dictionary. How to apply project scope management and evaluating Boeing 787 Dreamliner by Boeing outsourced 70% of the 787 design and manufacture without well-defined scope baseline, lack of a clear work breakdown structure, and documented scope led to miscommunication, delay, and cost overrun. And clear rules and responsibility between Boeing and supplier increase complexity. Failure to control the scope change caused a rework and quality issues. A formal scope definition and control process could have aligned as a stakeholder and reduce production problem.
So the second knowledge area of interest is the project risk management. Our textbook, the PM book, 6th edition, give us a purpose of the risk management. We want to increase the probability and impact of positive risk, and we want to decrease the probability and impact of negative risk in order to optimize the chances of success of our project. Doing this, we need to perform 7 main key activities, which are planning for the risk management. We want to identify the different risks. We also want to perform qualitative risk and quantitative risk analysis. Finally, on the third phase, we want to plan the risk response and implement this response while also monitoring this. And to do so, we want to focus on 3 main concepts, which are the risk, which is the uncertainty of events that can affect our objectives, risk attitude, which can be risk appetite, risk tolerance, or risk threshold, and the different level of risk, individual or project risk. How to use the project risk management in evaluating our project, the Boeing 787 liner? Well, we want to identify how they were able, we want to figure out how they were able to identify the risk, but at the same time, they were not able to correctly plan for it, which led to overcost run and many more issues down the road. They also performed some qualitative and quantitative risk analysis that showed evidence of low probability but high impact risk. It shows also that they neglected those low probability risk, and that led to some pretty important failure, such as the battery ones. These failures also show that there is a lack of integrated response in planning. They responded reactively rather than proactively, in such way that they only redesigned the battery safety after they grounded all planes. So also finally, the risk monitoring was not done effectively. There were many delays, so that better risk updates and warning indicators can prevent risk earlier rather than later and help us save some money.
Okay, and then the last thing we're going to talk about is the performance domain of the stakeholders. So, quick overview, according to the PMBOK 7th edition, the purpose is to maintain productive relationships with all stakeholders to align expectations, needs, and project objectives, with some of the key activities being identify all stakeholders and analyze their influence and impact to the project, and then communicate openly and manage feedback. Some key concepts from this include recognizing everyone affected or influential for the project, build trust, respect, and transparency. Then lastly, keep the stakeholders informed and involved. So how we plan on using this domain in evaluating the 787 Dreamliner? Well, first of all, Boeing severely underestimated their lithium-ion battery system, leading to groundings of the Dreamliner, which led to a loss of trust in Boeing aircraft. Some of the stakeholders affected included the airliners themselves, passengers and workers. Airliners because they couldn't fly the planes, passengers because they couldn't fly in the planes, and then the workers because, well, they either had to rework or you just had aircraft or airport workers affected. And then, due to Boeing's supply chain strategy, many stakeholders were also affected, with that 70%. The employees at Boeing had less work on this airline. Customers also got affected due to groundings and other failures of the aircraft. And then also the suppliers got affected due to them having to produce more and manufacture more. So getting into our next steps, We're going to evaluate some more articles because right now we only have 4. And then we want to start an outline of our paper just so we get the ball rolling there and we're not behind. And then lastly, we have our reference slides, or reference slide, I should say, for our slideshow. But with that, that wraps up our presentation. If you have any questions, let us know. Thank you.